I'm Kevin Benedict, mobile analyst, blogger, and SAP mentor. I want to thank you for joining us today for this video podcast. I have with me as guest today John Bedlek. He's Solutions Account Manager with the Inland Group. Thank you for joining us today, John.
Hi, Kevin.
I would like to talk to you about some of your recent activities and work around mobile solutions here. But before we get into there, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Inland Group?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, maybe a little bit about the Inland Group. I work for the Inland Group of real estate companies. We're headquartered in Oak Brook, Illinois. We have about 1,400 employees nationwide. And the bulk of our real estate business today is in the management of shopping centers, commercial shopping centers around the country. We have 4 REITs, Real Estate Investment Trusts, that own, I'd be a happy guy if I could quote you the exact number of square feet, but I believe in total around 600-700 shopping centers around the country amongst the 4 REITs. And my role in all that is I've worked here for the unbelievable sum of 28 years, I believe. I was just mentioning that to somebody before the call, and they said, boy, that's unusual in this day and age. And so I've seen the real estate business change quite a bit. I've seen technology change quite a bit. And so and I've been involved in trying to find technical solutions to real estate problems for those 28 years.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit about your core IT systems? What are you guys using in the back end that you ultimately connected your mobile applications to?
That's a great question. And what we have, our ERP system, I forget what, the Enterprise Resource Planning, I never know why they use those 3 letters to describe this type of system, but however, our ERP system is J.D. Edwards. It is the system, the accounting and property management system that's used to manage those shopping centers. That's where leases are kept, tenant information is kept, shopping center information is kept, checks are written from, accounts receivable are received to. That's our system of record. And how that ties into the solution we're going to talk about is another step we've taken with J.D. Edwards, which is parenthetically an Oracle product, is we've developed our own business intelligence solution. There are a lot of canned business intelligence solutions out there, and kind of going against the grain, we went ahead and using the Microsoft stack, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft Analysis Services, or SQL Server Analysis Services, SQL Server Integration Services. We've gone out and built ourselves Business Intelligence Cube based on J.D. Edwards, focused on the accounting side of things, the general ledger, accounts receivable, occupancy, vacancy, and leasing. Kind of key areas in the profitability of management of shopping centers. And my definition of business intelligence, parenthetically, and again tying into our conversation, is putting information into the hands of the people who need it. There is all kinds of valuable information locked away in that ERP system in J.D. Edwards, and getting that information in a useful fashion into the hands of the people who can affect the bottom line is I think what this is all about.
Ah, very good. So tell me, how long have you guys had a mobility strategy?
A couple of years. I was kind of looking back. I believe we started with this at the very end of 2009, to the best of my recollection. And what happened was this: we had a mobility strategy which was BlackBerry. Our property managers, I'm going to focus on the shopping centers in that area of our business. Our property managers all had BlackBerries, and they all had BlackBerries so they could read their email. And plus, you could do some web browsing on the BlackBerry and so forth, but that was about the end of it. And then one day, one of our senior people was on an airplane, reading about Webelo, which is a product I'm going to discuss here, and so another REIT was using it, and what it was a way of putting business intelligence information into the hands of users. And we said, well, wait a second. Here's two things we've already got. We've already got a business intelligence solution. We've already got BlackBerries. Maybe what we need to do is marry the two things, put the two things together, and use the tool we already have to look at the information we already have. And that's how that all got started back in about 2009.
So what was the business challenge that was motivating you guys to want to get that information out to the hands of your mobile workforce?
Well, the times were tough. I don't know if you were reading the newspaper or not, watching what was going on, but the economy was under severe pressure. Our REITs were under pressure from a lot of financial areas, but the goal was to keep the shopping centers full of happy, profitable, rent-paying tenants is what we wanted to do. The goal here, I believe, is always a mutually beneficial business relationship. What we're trying to do is provide the tenant with the best possible service. So I think that was kind of the motivation at that time. And the other motivation was don't spend a lot of money. At that time, and still today, IT budgets are very, 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 very closely scrutinized. Ours is. And people want value for the dollars they spend. So we wanted to come up with a solution that was quick, effective, cheap. Can you have all three of those? I think Steven Spielberg says you can't have all three of those, but we tried.
So you talked about the goal was to keep happy, profitable, rent-paying customers in your shopping centers.
Correct.
But what was the challenge that you hoped that the mobile device would help you solve?
Oh, one of the problems was property managers. These shopping centers are located around the country. Some of them are right in the neighborhood for the property managers. Others are, a day or two drives away. They're in a different state. And when you visit that shopping center, when the property manager visited the shopping center, they need information in their hands. What's coming? What are the vacancies that are coming up? What's the status of the accounts receivable? What are the outstanding work orders on the property? Is a roof leaking someplace? Does the parking lot need repairs elsewhere? Is the snow being shoveled in the wintertime? Who can do that type of maintenance work? All those things are, and they'd have to print that stuff up and bring it along with them. And with a lot of that stuff is time sensitive, meaning that if you print it today, 3 days later it is now out of date. And so the challenge was to shorten that. The prep time, spend less time identifying the problem and more time solving the problem, and also have that information immediately available to you in hand on site.
So with that list of challenges you were looking to solve, what kind of process did you use to select a mobile solution?
Surprisingly simple. Is what it was. It was because of the constraints I've just outlined.
Right.
It was we found the Webelo product and read the description, talked to the people. Some of our peers in the industry were already using it. We talked to them. They were very happy with it, and very frankly, the implementation turned out to be so quick and so straightforward, I've kind of said this before, that by the time in a traditional implementation plan we would have been identifying resources and setting priorities and establishing requirements and determining an ROI and making executive decisions, by the time that stuff would have been done, the solution was in the hands of the people in the field. It was done. And that was the charm, the beauty, the win in that approach.
So tell me about that implementation deployment process. It sounds like you were surprised with the short amount of time it took you to implement and deploy. What did that process look like?
Well, remember where we started. When I mentioned before, we already had a business intelligence solution in place, which was key. And the front end for that business intelligence solution many times is a dashboard. It's got arrows, red and green lights, charts, pie charts, all that type of stuff, and we have that. But the heart of the front end is Microsoft Excel. What we can do with Microsoft Excel tied into SQL Server analysis services is use Microsoft as our analysis tool to look at things like upcoming vacancies, current accounts receivable, outstanding work orders, those types of things, and write in a spreadsheet. And the power of that is that Microsoft Excel is not the destination of the analysis, it's the source of the analysis. The numbers are actually direct. You don't have to plug them in there. They're already there. You just open up the spreadsheet, it refreshes, boom, you have today's current information. Okay, there's the running point. There's the starting point. Since we have all that, what Webelo provides, what our solution provides, is a way of looking at spreadsheets conveniently and intelligently in a usable way on a BlackBerry. So now that you can do that, therein was the solution. Now, I guess the process is we first of all identified the types of information we wanted, which I've already listed: accounts receivable, the vacancies, the open work orders, the expiring leases. We identified all those pieces of information. We went into the business intelligence system, generated pivot tables and spreadsheets that broke that information down in a hierarchical fashion by property management hierarchy, by the region and the manager, and then went over to the Webelo site. Webelo has what they call, I believe, their mobile dashboard, and you tell the mobile dashboard about those reports. You tell it how to analyze it, you break it down, and there is some technical involvement there, but I did it, and I don't write that many programs anymore. It's something an analyst can do. It's something a business person can do. You don't have to be familiar with the development environment. You don't have to be a C# programmer or a VB programmer. You don't have to use any types of more proprietary development tools. You can just go into the web interface and kind of tell it about what the spreadsheet looks like after you download it. And now the Webelo, now you have your information. Webelo knows about it. We have another component. We have an automated kind of batch schedule that we have that takes these spreadsheets every day, generates a fresh one, and emails it off to that Webelo hosting site, someplace out there in the cloud. And that information gets out there on a daily basis, and now it's available to people in a secure fashion on their BlackBerries based on who they are and what part of the country they're in and what REIT they work for and what shopping centers they're responsible for.